Joining us is a good friend to the show. He's the president of the Milwaukee Bucks, and that, of course, is Peter Feigin. Peter, appreciate the time as always. How you been?
Always, Zach. Always the most positive person in the media. I know the text is going to hit when something hits, which is always beyond appreciated.
Well, I appreciate you saying that. I know there's a lot of other teams that will not say I'm the most positive person in the media, but you guys do it right. And in a small market, there sometimes are things that could prevent you guys from getting to where you want to go, but you guys have now kind of been the modeled standard in a smaller market on how to get this thing not only humming, but humming consistently.
Yeah, I think in getting it done and having the vision and like our owners and John Horst, who is just hit for the cycle, over the last few years in kind of putting this puzzle together has just been incredible. But you're right. I mean, the challenge of the small market is to really be focused and kind of like work twice as hard to get these types of things done.
So, a lot of people in the national media, they always try to get Giannis Antetokounmpo off your team to like New York, to a market like Miami as well, or LA or Golden State, whatever it is, to win with Giannis and then also get him to continue signing with you guys. Just what does that mean to you personally?
Yeah, it's so much deeper. I hate to get mushy or cliche, but it's so much more than basketball. If anybody gets to know this guy, I mean, we've all grown up together now for a long time here, and he's part of the fabric and the leader on the court. And, we're all in this small market. It's very transparent. We're all very much a part of each other's lives. His kids have started to grow up with us, his mother, his brothers, and he is exactly who you think he is, the most loyal, transparent, funny, smart guy, and by the way, probably the best basketball player in the world on top of it. So it's a testament to the organization, to him, to the city. I mean, it's one of these feathers in the cap that you can't even define how important and what the magnitude of it is.
And you know me, I thought for a while he was going to stay. This offseason, I was a little bit worried, if I'm being transparent. Even though he said a lot of things that he said this year in the past, it just felt different a little bit this time around with how last season ended. To finally put this all to rest, to get Damian Lillard, to get Giannis to re-sign with you guys again. When that deal was finally done and you got the okay from Giannis and you guys had the back and forth, just what went through your head right away?
Well, right away, he said, "I've got news for you. It's done." You walked out of the room and he said, you're terminated. I laughed. I mean, Zach, it's so interesting because it's so immediate. And by the way, 10 days prior, you're talking about the Dame effect and kind of trading, again, for one of the top 5-10 players in the league, that these are moments that effectuate the future of a franchise. We can think of our business, 2 to 4 years out, which you really couldn't do. I tell everybody before this happened, hey, if Giannis is on the court, we're a championship caliber team. We're a global team. We are in the mix. We're a small market that acts and performs like a large market, and then you combine, Damian Lillard on top of that, as well as the rest of the offseason. What gets kind of brushed away is, we extended Chris Middleton, Brooke re-signed with us. We kind of have a great deep, bench. So the fact that these owners have really committed to literally doing what they said they would do, is putting a championship team on the court, is kind of an incredible opportunity for us as an organization over a longer period of time, to think beyond season by season.
Bucks President Peter Feigin here with us. With the message that Giannis sent you guys through the media, maybe behind the scenes this offseason, did you guys really feel that pressure internally where you said, okay, this could be it with the Giannis era if we don't go get him another big-time player?
No, I think we always feel the pressure. Listen, you go through the ebbs and flows of what the age of your roster is, what the terms are, how do you keep health, how do you keep really competitive? I think he knows we've been through it. I mean, the interesting thing about Giannis is he has never gone away from the fact that he wants to be on a winning team and he wants to be somewhere where he can compete for a championship. And he's always said that in a big way to get it done. So I think he knows. I mean, I think it's like the nice pressure on both sides of the partnership to say, like, let's test each other, and like we're real. We are gonna compete. We are gonna spend the money. We are gonna go for the best talent in the league, and we're not gonna compromise.
So take me behind the scenes, because from afar, I thought for sure Damian Lillard was going to wind up with the Miami Heat. And then out of nowhere, we get that breaking news alert. Whoa, Damian Lillard's getting traded to Milwaukee. And that was something that people suggested, but no one ever thought it was going to happen. So how'd this all go down behind the scenes?
I think it's pretty simple. I think, several weeks prior to it happening, John called Joe, called Portland and said, "Hey, just by the way, we're interested. Like, we don't know where you are in the process. It's like the simple deal call. Make sure you keep hooks in the water, to get it in." And lo and behold, I think as Portland was kind of navigating like where opportunities were, they gave us a call, and literally, I would say, kind of in earnest, like probably 3 intense days of really discussing kind of what the opportunities beyond the cone of silence, because you can't imagine, for us, like there were so many elements of it, of the importance of confidentiality and secrecy, because we didn't want it to hit the market. We didn't want to go public and have to deal with the other teams you might be, vying for to play on, and kind of deal with that. And we also like have a real sensitivity to like our team members and our assets, whether it's Drew, whether it's Grayson, in the trade as well. So I would say we kind of all went to bed the night before the trade, and thought we had like a deal on hand, and we were all in a good spot. And to Portland's credit, really kind of like the cadence, the transparency, the incredible like dealing with John and John and Portland's GM just really kind of like stuck it through and like made it happen. And I mean, I won't lie to you. I think John and I hug. We've been lucky to hug every few months, like in a real earnest way, with like this kind of relief. And that was probably that was second only to the championship hug. But that was a pretty long hug of like, wow, that was an event.
How did you guys tell Giannis, by the way?
I think we're always like pretty punctual. I mean, we told him like right away. I think Giannis, like immediate feeling like everybody. I don't think there's somebody who probably had more of a deep connection on a human basis, whether it's basketball or off the court, than Drew Holiday and his wife, like Lauren, for us in this community and like citizenship. So I think first and foremost, like it was the thought of kind of that transition and the relationship, and then kind of like, I think Giannis was kind of a little bit like we all were wowed at, we just got either the best, second or third best offensive player in the NBA to come to the Milwaukee Bucks.
We've seen different eras in the NBA. As the president of the Milwaukee Bucks, Peter Feigin, is here with us. We've seen dynamic duos. We've seen super teams. We've seen big threes. You guys have a big three with Giannis Antetokounmpo, with Dame Lillard, and also Chris Middleton. What excites you the most when you guys get ready to tip off this season about what your big three can do this year?
Yeah, I think I think on the surface we can play a different brand of basketball. Like, it's no shock that Damian Lillard can spread out a defense, to levels like a Steph Curry. That's a big change. I think it might be the first time in Chris's career he won't be double teamed every play, and might get some open shots to get through. And I think I'm most excited to see famous throughout the era is kind of a pick and roll team of Dame and Giannis, which I think as they go through time and kind of perfect it, close to, if not impossible, to stop. If it really gets perfected in that type of pick and roll with two guys that can do so much, so athletic, so accomplished, like offensively. So it's kind of mind-blowing what the potential is.
Did it pain you to see Drew Holiday wind up with the Boston Celtics now?
Yeah, I've been around for a while, so I've had separations. I've said goodbye to friends, from summer camp. I've graduated from high school and said goodbye to kids I grew up with, and I've moved away. I've had these emotional kind of things, and I think Drew's chapter is right up there for a lot of us, in that this is a guy that is like unconditionally loved and respected, and just like like just an incredible, like it's so funny when he explained to me, like, Milwaukee almost like revived my career and my love of basketball. And I think, he's shortchanging himself. Like he did that for a lot of us. Like we got the passion back, to have, like, he was an infusion of such positive additive substance to us. Like we could never measure it. I mean, he's that great a guy.
I know you guys also said goodbye to Coach Bud and how close you guys have been. We talked about that throughout the years. Now you have a new basketball coach in Adrien Griffin. Just what does he bring to the team? I know we haven't been able to really see any games that count yet with the season just starting, but what has kind of impressed you so far with Adrien Griffin?
Yeah, I think you'll see a whole new energy, like on the sideline, but on the court, and kind of where we are, defensively, how we move our offense, like at a much faster level. I think it's a different moving, adjusting, type of play. I think he's feeling out, like a lot of us, on kind of what a head coach is to an assistant coach, which is like a pretty incredible evolution. But Adrian's the first time he's a head coach, but he's a veteran. He's been around 4 or 5 of the greatest NBA coaches that have existed in this era. He's been a top assistant. He certainly has, like in a short period of time, the love and the respect of the team, which is, very cool to see matriculate.
What's your side, Peter Feigin, on why Terry Stotts walked away from the coaching staff and resigned?
Yeah, well, I have the business side. The basketball side's always interesting. And I think there's the human side. Like, I think this wasn't the right fit. If you asked, like, this was like, and it couldn't be better, right? Like, you always hope that if it's not right, to quickly, like, make the decision and understand it kind of quickly. So I'm glad, on both sides, like, if this was not a great fit, we kind of figured it out early. And I think, Terry is like one of the renowned, loved, intelligent, great guys who was around, and it probably just, wasn't a good fit, for where he is and what he was thinking about. And, it allows us, really gives us the kind of flexibility to move on, kind of quickly and not drag it through the season.
Is this championship or bust for you guys this year? Because you guys have a team that it would be a disappointment if you don't hold that Larry O'Brien trophy up at the end of the season.
Yeah, I mean, we were just talking internally about the pressure. I mean, this is like, I think you always want to be here. Like, you want to be a championship caliber team, but that means, like, you're out to win the championship. So, like, if you don't think we went into, a deep clinical depression when we got knocked out of the first round of the playoffs, like last year, like, that's devastating. That's way below expectations, and for us, it's so fragile. These windows are so, kind of narrow to go through, but we've got to get to the finals, and we've got to win a championship.
Last thing I'll ask you, just from a league standpoint, I know they made a minimum of how many games you have to play this year for awards and all that stuff. We've talked about this before as the president of the Bucks, Peter Feigin, joins us about the load management issue. Do you think this will really solve it, or is it still going to be, hey, if the star player doesn't want to play, he's still not going to play, and there's going to be an issue with load management in the NBA?
I think it's a step forward. I think it'll be a movement to start to fix it. I think you will see there will not be casual do not plays like in the league. I think, like, they'll really take a look at load and stress and injury, in a much different way. I think they did a great job with kind of the punitive issues to get it. So I think it's directionally, and again, another kudos to Adam, in kind of having the vision of, like, here is, like, one of our soft spots. Like, how do we look to improve that? And, it's no secret that NBA fans want to see, NBA superstars play. It's why they tune in. It's why they buy tickets. It's what they do. So I think it's a great step forward.
Well, I'm craving some carnivore. I'm craving some fourth base and a little Fiserv Forum. So text me on the side when everyone's going to play, and I'll make it out to Milwaukee again this year.
I love it, Zach. Go Bucks!